The truth is inside of us, and it's wonderful when we have the courage to tell it.
Welcome to the fourth installment of the U.S.A. series. This segment is about the engine that propels us to act or think in a certain way. This is not to demand anything of you, but only to introduce the truth. So, what is faith? It is nothing more than simply believing something that isn't tangibly seen, having complete trust. It's the hope that's being conjured up with the expectation to realizing a thing. Take a look at a city that attracts many tourists. People enjoy relishing in the architectural beauty and the attractions that are available. They also do not waste much time in selecting a suitable venue to dine to satisfy their hunger. As these people are enjoying their vacation, or business trip in some cases, simultaneously, they are basking in the luxury of what was once a pile of dirt. Initially, before there were exquisite buildings and integrated retail stores, these places were nothing but a hopeful idea. It's highly looked over and undervalued the power of our thoughts. To have the whimsical inspiration within to invent or create is a powerful nucleus. Reminds me of a book that's titled Thoughts Are Things by Bob Proctor. A good read, and it's full of theories and hypotheses that'll make you wonder about the manifestations of your current life based on your former and current thoughts. I realized some years ago that we are a function of the limited or unlimited thoughts we have shaped. Observe the accumulations in your life. They have been obtained because of the premeditated thoughts that you have hoped or had a desire for. Now, this can be a want or need, and in most cases, we tend to lean more on the side of superficial wants than an absolute need. That should tell you how rich as a country we are to have such a luxury in choices. Even so, all that you have possessed in your life is a result of your thoughts. We see it in every passing moment, but rarely consider that these things are formulated ideas that have become reality from dedication and sacrificial time. In order for anything of value or of specialization to come about, there must be a strategic absence of leisure. A man planning to invent a product will need to refrain from frivolous events, parties, or social attractions because he knows that he cannot waste time in his quest to productivity. That time cannot be refunded. He also knows integrally that the sacrifices he will make today will reward him tomorrow. You can witness this aspirational quality in athletes, construction workers, industrial manufacturing, and the list goes on. Because faith is rooted in all things evidently seen before our very eyes. I'll tell you what, there is a need for scientists, chemists, and people of such discoverable mindsets, because they are the pioneers to reinventing new thresholds and resetting the standards to what is possible. Even those who deploy environmentally friendly household products like soap, cleaning agents, and laundry detergents. All of these were once a purposeful idea, and now we reap the benefits of such consumer goods. Conceptualizing faith involves understanding the basis of thoughts and beliefs. They are integrated and cannot be separate from one another. If you believe a certain way, your thoughts will be in tune to that belief. And likewise, if you organize your thought patterns in a category or think for a moment about your actions in your daily life, it will be aligned with the origins of your belief. Now, faith is entangled in this. It's having the trust to believe without ever having a credible evidence of its possibility, in addition to having confidence despite not seeing anything tangible. I know that most of you understand what I'm talking about, because you have operated in faith ever since you were born, regardless of your unawareness. Remember your high school days, when you were becoming acclimated with campus security and being introduced to the terminology lower and upperclassmen? Vastly different from your years in elementary. When you enter the first day of your freshman year, There is a high expectation which is cloaked over you to achieve academic excellence by your parents, family, guardian, or loved ones. That's great, and it's wholesome to have a supporting cast in your corner, especially with the diversity of personalities that awaits. But during that freshman year, the hope has been laid. Though you are aspiring to accomplish being a graduate with a high school diploma, that arrangement has not become a reality. Consequently, that's the definition of faith. It is the things hoped for and the evidence of what has not been seen. When women become pregnant, there lies the beginning of the hope phase. The maturing of the fetus inside is destined to emerge from the womb, or in the event of a C-section, into the world and be fruitful. This is the hope. But during the 9 months of pregnancy, there is an optimistic desire that the baby is growing at a normal rate as the labor date approaches. This biological process is how we all have came into the world, and some animals give birth in a similar fashion, but this entire undertaking is of complete faith. We are so accustomed to conception that we don't really think about it in this way. This country has established itself as one of the most lucrative amongst others, but not without some indiscretions that are placed in a vault for undermining occasions. That's a geopolitical discussion, and I'll digress from that. But the United States of America hosts over 334,000 people. Have you ever wondered why this country has not been invaded or captured by surrounding countries to pillage the land? In Europe, or the eastern countries like Iraq, Iran, and Pakistan, they are prevalent in invading each other and causing massive damages to properties to overthrow, and the incidents of genocide. But the United States rarely have these occurrences. Why? I will tell you why. There is a considerable amount of specialized assembled artillery and armor that goes into the United States Defense Department. As of 2020, the financial endorsements are over $50 billion, which enables the Department of Homeland Security to be equipped with high-tech tactical machinery and weaponry. This support will not only outlast the attacks of invaders, but it will also decimate a civilization. Even if countries try to partner up in their attempts, they will be incredibly unsuccessful. As we live our lives, we understand on a surface level that we are protected, but it's because of the complete faith we have in the Defense Department that no other country will come enslave us after killing the able fighting men. All women would be vulnerable and susceptible to rape, while the children would be treated like servants, or worse, for breeding agents. There wouldn't be a chance for survival if all the men are deceased due to laying their life on the line. Thankfully, we have an extremely low probability of being invaded. I was reading a biography about a man who became a great radio personality, and the most interesting part about his biography was the explanation he mentioned about his mother. It was a synopsis of a woman who was poor in the mid-1930s, and she was raising 3 boys as a housewife, while her husband was preoccupied with maintaining a level of living for the family with his occupation. She was homeschooling the boys and actively involved in the crucial developmental years of their childhood. Though she was poor financially, as well as the household, she was rich in knowledge. That knowledge she passed to her 3 boys, and they became successful and took care of their parents throughout their approaching elderly years. But what was compelling was the statement she told her boys after one of them asked her a question. The boy asked his mother, "Why do you read so many books?" She replied, "Everything you need to know, everything you want to know, and anything you want to be has been written down by somebody, somewhere." I think the assumption of this woman is by far more close to being true than it will ever be false. All of the information recorded has been written down, and nowadays, with streaming services and social networking platforms, the gems of knowledge can be heard through audiobooks or video. If you ever want to become something of worth, all you need to do is read the criteria of that genre. You want to learn a new language? Get literature for acquiring comprehension, written and oral skills. You want to be a sales agent? Purchase a book to read the insights of those who have managed to succeed in that field. Even athletes have written biographies that will include details of how they achieve success, which will not be included in visual documentaries. I have understood that you can use words to detail so many avenues of your thoughts on paper to compile a novel, rather than just trying to condense those details in a documentary series. Reading is invaluable. It's the earliest form of record keeping, but by reading, you are experiencing the faith that has been shown by the author. If you send a text to someone, though we rarely write letters, you must have faith in your cellular service provider to honor their policy agreement with you to send that message to your recipient. Without faith, nothing is possible. This is why people become what they become. Remember, your thoughts are things, and they have an effect on your decisions made. There have been many examples of impoverished financially who then turned wealthy in a matter of months. Also, the opposite has taken place, where a person has lost wealth and became impoverished. What separates poverty-stricken and wealth is simply the actuated mind. Your mind is the essence to your being and stimulation. The way you think is how you behave. The greatest philosopher, renowned by others in this category, was accredited by these statements written in his letter to the public using the example of a ruler, but it applies to anyone. He wrote, quote, "When you sit to eat with a ruler, consider diligently what is before you, and put a knife to your throat if you be a man given to appetite. Be not desirous of his dainties, for they are deceitful meat. Labor not to be rich, and cease from your own wisdom. Will you set your eyes upon that which is not? For riches certainly make themselves wings, and they fly away as an eagle toward heaven. Eat not yourself of the bread of him that has an evil eye, neither desire yourself his dainty meats. For as he thinketh in his heart, so is he." End quote. Did you catch that last sentence? It gave you the key to a person's results in life. There isn't a coincidental aspect to the existence of a person, place, or thing. They are concessions of a mind, or groupthink. Humankind is a result of a greater mind than that which we possess, and by that mind, everything was formed. God doesn't need to believe in himself, because he's always good and faithful. But we as humans have that necessity. We need to have something to have faith in, and it's a blessing that we have a creator who is loyal and forthcoming. Free will has granted us to have the faith in whatever we want, believe in whatever we want. The sum total of your thoughts equals the complete quiddity of your faith. You want to be a homeowner? You want to be a philanthropist? Get out of debt? What about being a surgeon of high ranks? Whatever it is you desire in your heart in conjunction with your faith, then the presumption is you will grow closer to achieving it. This is why it's important to have a worthy goal that makes you change. Change in your mannerisms, your speech, and the way you present yourself to others. But if your goal isn't worthwhile and lackluster, then your personal development will not be of substance or quality. So, with all that being said, correspondingly, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. I tell you, about 5 years ago, I received the verdict that a man or a woman is the accumulation of what they think 90% of the time. If you are not deliberate about taking control over what you allow your mind to focus on, then by default, you will be led to idleness. Nevertheless, if you believe you are a thing, then typically you are usually right. So, when you are constructive in your thoughts, then you can have the faith to believe in whatever outcome you are pursuing. You want to be a realtor? Have the faith that you will become that. You want a better career? Have the faith by your due diligence that an opportunity will present itself. Remember, faith has to be accompanied by actions. This is why faith without works are dead. Have you ever seen a businessman not negotiate deals? When have you witnessed a woman void of using cosmetics? Businessmen are always contracting deals or propositions for their organization. To negotiate is a side effect of that profession. Women, since the origin of face paint, have always been using facial artistry to enhance their appearance. The condition of beautifying themselves is a concomitant. One cannot be without the other. Without faith, it is impossible to have accomplishments. Similarly, without faith, it is impossible to please God. What I have talked about is the construction of your thoughts or things. Faith is contingent of your beliefs, and you are what you think about most of the time. If you don't understand anything I've mentioned up to this point, I'll end with this as a rubric. The 12 men that were chosen by Jesus came to him privately about a situation in regards to a demonic spirit and a young boy that they couldn't drive out. And they asked, "Why couldn't we drive it out?" He answered, "Because you have so little faith. For truly I tell you, if you have faith the size of a mustard seed, you can say to this mountain, 'Move from here to there,' and it will move. Nothing will be impossible for you."
The truth is inside of us, and it's wonderful when we have the courage to tell it.